Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I'm founder of Ladies Get Your Prance On show today. And my special guest, I am talking, as you notice behind me, I have all these little social media. My guest, Tracey Warren, she is the goddess of everything to do with social media. Any question, how many layers deep, she knows the ins and out of everything. She is a curator of everything wonderful to do with social media, and I probably have that wrong because we were talking before the show. So, Tracey, welcome.
Well, thank you. I feel like, wow, I know a lot more than I think I know.
Oh, you know so much, and we've known each other for, was it 4 years now? We've known each other for quite a while, and there's so much activity that you have going on that I want you to be able to share today and start off social media. And here's another tip for those of you who know Tracey. I'm going to share a little tip with you that you probably don't know. One of her first jobs that she did, when you go to a basketball game and you have like the buzzers and the scorekeeping, that is what Tracey did. And so, I mean, she's wearing her Seattle Seahawks. For those of you who don't recognize that are from the Seattle area, we are both from Washington, and we are big supporters of our Seattle Seahawks.
Blue Friday, baby.
It is. And
yeah.
I should have had mine on. So, and I do have, here's what's so funny. We both know Nikki Roush. I carry my little antennas here to, buying signals.
Yes. I don't have any antennas.
You don't?
I don't. I need to remedy that because that is the most brilliant idea I've ever seen.
I love, every day I put these on in the morning sitting here at my desk and it's like, okay, what can I do to generate business? Who do I need to reach out to? And so it's about making business fun and using social media. So when people talk about social media, one of the first thing comes to mind is Facebook. Like everyone's in tune with Facebook. So of all the little things that you see behind me, and a lot of people are entrepreneurs that watch this show, what is the top 3 social media outlets for entrepreneurs that you would suggest, and why?
Well, that's a really interesting question because it's based on who your audience is. So I would say number 1, without a doubt, is LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is the social media platform that is not nearly as social as any of the other ones. But LinkedIn is super important for people getting to know who you are, and not just people getting to know who you are, but LinkedIn tells Google who you are, which is why it's important.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So making sure that your headline is good, your bio is good, that all helps Google to know who you are. Number 2, I would say, is Facebook. There's no arguing with 1.6 billion people, almost a quarter of the population of the planet, which is kind of shocking when you think about that. But that's where most of the people are hanging out. Yeah. And so, yeah, Facebook would be next. And then as far as the third, I would say it really depends on your business. Okay. If you are in a photo-based business, if you are a trainer, if you are a photographer, if you do something around food, then I would say Instagram would be your next place to play. If that's not, when I say I play on Instagram, it's a place for people to get to know me. I don't do a lot of talking about business. That's because the target market on Instagram, the biggest number of users, are under 30. And that's not typically my target market. Okay. But I also love Twitter, just as another space to build relationships. And Twitter has struggled over the past few years. I think they're trying to really find their place. So LinkedIn, Twitter, and then for the third, I would just say it just depends on your audience and what you do.
Yeah. Well, we have to, and I have to make light of this. We're not going to get into politics, but our president-elect has definitely brought boom. I mean, it had to be a big boom for the Twitter industry for Donald Trump to make use
Yeah.
of it.
It's been really interesting to kind of watch that whole. One thing that I don't like about Twitter as much, I mean, from a business perspective, I love it, but from a politics perspective, they don't do a very good job of shutting down hate speech. And unfortunately, that's been part of this whole political process, is just this resurgence in hate speech, and they don't do a very good job of controlling that. Facebook does a very good job of keeping that to a minimum, but that's an area Twitter could benefit from changing a bit.
One of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show today is because you and I are so in alliance, and I wanted you to help the people watching this. A lot of entrepreneurs that are fairly new at this, they join a bunch of groups, you know, like there's all these women groups, and they go on there and they vomit their ad. So please, Tracey, and you know, and I have to say, they probably don't know any better. And if they don't. And if they don't know any better, can you explain to the proper etiquette and how to use Facebook in these groups? What is the proper etiquette for posting in groups?
So it really depends on the group, but
let's say they're new, though. Let's say they've just joined the group. I'm a new person and I just joined a group.
The best, most effective way to use a group, and this has really nothing to do with etiquette, is to contribute to the group. You know, be a part. It's like a community. It's a networking group. So let's talk about what a group would look like in real life. In real life, you wouldn't walk around saying, buy my stuff, here's my workshop. You wouldn't do that.
Whoa.
For some reason, there are a lot of people who just join groups who spam their stuff. And I think that when you are an active participant, when you contribute to the group, that's where, so that's what I try to do, because when you create contribution, when you really work to create community, it also creates curiosity about who you are.
Yeah.
Because when you're in there actively participating, people start to go, who is this person? Like, she's being helpful and she's giving great advice. Who is she? And that's when, because when then they look you up and go, oh my gosh, she does that. She's never even mentioned that. Like, there's so much power in that.
Yeah.
And the group thing, it's, I am working really hard on Facebook at a couple of things. One, practicing grace. Okay. Practicing grace. They didn't mean it, or, giving them the benefit of the doubt. And the other thing I'm working on is being, I don't know what the opposite of passive aggressive is, but I tend to be on the passive aggressive side. I'm like, well, screw you, I'm unfriending you, which is fine for me. I suppose it protects me, but it doesn't help the other person. And so, like the other day, as an example, I got this group message that was written in third person, like, hey, come join me for this, or no, come join so-and-so for this event, and da-da-da-da-da. And I just reached out to them and said, hey, in the future, it might be better if you reach out to people individually.
Thank you.
I hope you don't mind me sharing that.
Yeah.
Because if not, at my core, I want to help them be better.
Yes.
Whether they ever hire me or not, I really don't care. I want them to show up in a way that people want to be, people want to be around them. People want to do business with them.
And you also have a group, if you don't mind sharing, on Facebook where people can get a lot of tips about that.
I have a group. It's called the Social Playground Group. As long as we're talking about groups, I want to say one more thing about groups. This is not about etiquette. This is about who owns you. Okay. So your Facebook page, your Facebook group, make no mistake, you don't own that space. Facebook owns it.
Yep.
I have a friend who just out of nowhere, a mutual friend of yours and mine, Lisa, her group just disappeared. Poof. And she's worked really hard to create this awesome community. Now, one of the other things she has done really well, and this is what I'm recommending to people now who have a group, is she has done a lot of different things in her group, whether it was a challenge or a book club or whatever. She has taken that group and gotten them on her email list, which she does own.
Yeah.
So I would just encourage you that if you have a list, don't anomalies happen, and her page disappeared or her group, and she contacted Facebook about it, and they have no memory of it. Like, they can't find it.
Wow.
And so, and the other thing, I have another friend who this just happened to her, and this is, I suppose, goes back to etiquette, is there are a lot of people out there who have 2 personal profiles. They have one to connect with their friends and family. They have one where they connect with their networking buddies. Well, Facebook, when they discover it, and they will, they'll delete one. And you don't get to choose which one, and you have no recourse because it's against the terms of service. So the other thing that happened to another friend this week is Facebook took note of what she's been posting on her personal profile, and they gave her a warning and said, by the way, in 2 weeks, we're changing her personal page to a business profile. And so I went and looked at her posts, and she doesn't talk about business a lot. However, almost every meme, every picture she puts up on Facebook has a link to her website on it.
Oh.
So Facebook saw that and said, oh, okay, you're a business page. And they're converting her friend page into a business page. And again, it's a violation of the terms of service, what she's been doing. And so she's losing her personal profile.
Wow. I didn't know. I see, look, I'm learning from you. That's why I want to have you on the show.
Well, and I think, I, as a social media person, what a goddess, thank you for calling me that.
You're a goddess.
I hear about these horror stories, but sometimes they start to feel like urban myths, like, oh, sure, that's never going to happen on Facebook. And then when I hear it from people I know personally, first connection, I'm like, oh, crud, right? And I know for me, because I manage a lot of other people's social media profiles, I err on the side of caution. I am super careful. And I know not everybody has to be as careful as I am. But
well, and I learned too, because I have a Facebook page. It used to be a group called Prancing Kittens, which is, where I do my show. And it used to be a group that was a private group, and it wouldn't allow me to go to a public group. And so I went to a page because people were spamming their business. And I want to be able to highlight, like you, I want to have you on here. I want people to get the information and not be spammed. They can do that in other groups.
Yeah.
But when I started my group almost 5 years ago, and I was naive, so I started this group, and I thought, oh, she would make a good Prancing Kitten ad. She would make it, and so I added like 100 people at that time, because I go, I'd love her to be, she'd make a great one. And back at that time, nobody like messaged me going, that's rude, that's improper.
5 years ago, 5 years ago, what you were doing probably wasn't considered rude.
It wasn't. But
now it is, because everyone's doing it. And so now people are annoyed. But when you did it, I'm sure that nobody thought twice about, oh, look, Lisa added me to this group. This is great.
It wasn't until like 2 years later that I added somebody, and they said, please ask for permission first. But see, and at the time there was no link of inviting somebody to the group. And so I'm like, but I've learned that. So I'm letting people know that I too did that 5 years ago. And I didn't. And so once they said that, and then that's rude. And I went, how can that be rude? They just look at the group, they read the description, they go away. That is now I know today I get added probably every week. I probably get added to 3 to 5 groups every week. And so I'm patient. I just I look at the thing and I'm like, okay, or I leave the group. Yeah. But it is rude. And so I wanted to address that because I did it. So it's like, oh, Lisa did it.
On the other hand, this last week, somebody sent me a private message. Mm-hmm. And first of all, they complimented me for something, but they said, I'm starting this group. I would love for you to be a part of it. And then I was like, wow, now I feel honored. Like the difference is, one, you're just adding people to get numbers.
Yes.
Other, you're like I feel honored. Now I want to be a part of the group, not just be a part of the group. Yes. I want to participate. I want to, because I got this personal invitation.
Yeah. Let's talk about the numbers, because back when Prance and Get, my goal was to have 100 people. That was, to me, that was a big number. That was a big number. But there are people now that are in groups and they're buying ads to get people to join their groups, to be in there. And the numbers don't mean, sorry, I'm going to say shit, but the numbers don't mean shit, everybody. There's like, oh, my goal is to have 10,000 people. It doesn't matter. It's the quality of the people who are in your group. I've had Prancing Kids for over 5 years now. And it's a public page. So now I've got men are in there too, because it's just like, men support women. That's okay. But it's not about the numbers. It's about the people that are in the group and about giving them information that's valuable to them. Like every day I do a motivational message, or I'll share something of another entrepreneur. Like I'm going to be sharing this show in the group. Woo, woo. And so what would you like to say to that about groups? And if people want to start a group, should they? And if so, why? Because there's a ton of groups out there.
Well, and that is the perfect question for them to ask themselves.
Yeah.
Is, why am I starting a group? What is the purpose?
Yeah.
I did see a friend the other day. She said she's seeing a trend toward non-business groups. So it's groups for people who love to ski, or for people who love knitting. Like there's the power of the group is really in community.
Yeah.
Like I know that I met a lot. I was in this group with you, that closed group, Accelerated Networking, where that became a safe haven for me when I was going through some really yucky stuff 2 years ago. And I feel like we need that. But so back to your question, sorry. Ask yourself why. Like what? So there are some really great value ads for coaches, right? Hey, if you're in my coaching program, you get to be in my group.
Yes.
That's a powerful place for you to like, hey, I tried this thing that Nikki suggested, and here's what happened, and cheer for each other and that kind of thing. But I think that you need to be very clear about why you're starting the group, and then go on from there. And as far as the numbers are concerned, there's some interesting, I think it's called the law of diminishing returns, that sometimes when, even on a business page where people are like, I want 100,000 people to like my page. Well, studies have shown that the more people who like your page, actually you get less of an audience.
Really? Okay.
And I'm talking about huge numbers, right? Like 100,000 people. So I have never wanted 100,000 people on my page. I'm happy with my, 2,000 something or other, because it's a community that's engaged. And I can't possibly, it's harder to be engaged with the larger community. And if you're going to have a group, you need to be committed to visiting that group.
Yeah.
Because groups are a powerful way for people to spam, you have to watch, because if you don't watch, then your group turns into a spam fest.
Yes.
And I'm fairly certain that most of you who might be thinking about starting a group, your goal is not to create a spam.
No, no.
But you do have to be aware and create engagement. And there's a lot of tools out there that can allow you to schedule posts to create engagement in the group. And I'm watching some people do that really effectively.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's hard. Having a group is just another thing you have to do on social media. You really have to be committed to it if you're going to do it.
You have to be, the prancing kitten group, and some people are pro, I've tried like programs like Hootsuite. There's automatic, that will set up and schedule the postings, and there's mixed reviews. Some people are offended by it. Some people say, that's not authentic and real and it's not natural. But at the same time, I was gone on vacation last week, and I wish I would have, because people like, I miss your message, like your daily message. And I was on the road. I didn't have access to a computer. So I'm going to open my mind a little bit more this year to be open to the automated things for the days I can't be there, because, when I get the feedback, like your message wasn't there, you're right. People count on you. They count on you to be there for them.
Well, and when it comes to like a Facebook business page, the best thing for you to do is schedule directly on Facebook. You can schedule ahead on Facebook.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Then nobody gets offended. Nobody sees that it was from Hootsuite or any of those other things. Yeah, if you go, like you're going to.
I didn't know that. I'm so excited. Okay, we can end the show now. I got what I wanted. No, I'm kidding. Really? Okay.
It was interesting. I was part of a conversation on Facebook the other day about whether it was genuine to schedule or not. And I'm like, I don't think scheduling has anything to do with being genuine.
Yeah.
It's smart business practice, right? Like I don't think as an entrepreneur, me going, now I do it because it's my business, but for you, Lisa, to go into Facebook every day for 30 minutes to get a post up, that might not be the most effective use of your time. It might be better for you to go sit down for an hour on Monday and go, okay, what do I want to post this week, and set it all up. Now, you still have to go in and acknowledge when people are commenting or liking or whatever, but
please, let's talk about that. That's important. Thank you for bringing that up there. When people are commenting and liking it, what's the etiquette on that? Because some people post, they comment, and then it's crickets. Like they never respond back.
It's a staggering number of people that don't respond.
Yeah.
Businesses. So it's, okay, if somebody goes if I post something on my business page and somebody reacts to it, I hate that term, reacts, but they like it, they love it, they say wow or whatever. I don't do anything for those people, not because I don't appreciate those people, but it would be weird to say thank you for liking this post. I don't know, that just doesn't seem necessary. If they comment, I always respond somehow.
Yes, you do.
Either I say thank you for your comment, or that's a good point, or I'll like their comment. I believe that rewarded behavior gets repeated. And so just acknowledging someone for commenting on your page, I think that invites more people to comment. But the number is staggering. It's like, the last time I heard it was 90% of business posts where people go in and engage are not responded to.
That's crazy. But I see it. Yeah.
And in social media, now it's not about, oh my gosh, I have to be there every second of every day, but we all carry these little computers around in our hands, right? Our phones. There is, for Facebook, I use 5 apps. I use Facebook. There's a group app, which allows me to stay in touch with my groups. I get to designate some of those groups as my favorites. So if something is happening in those groups, I can engage right away. There's the Pages Manager app. Again, if you manage a business page, you need this Pages Manager app because it will send you a notification when someone comments on what you did on your page. That will allow you to respond. And sometimes, and I hate to say this, but because of social media, our response time and our expected response time has cut way down.
Yes.
You know, it used to be, oh, I have 24 hours to call someone back. You don't have 24 hours anymore. And maybe that's, you know, maybe I had a situation once where someone had called me in the afternoon. I called back the next morning and they said, oh, you're too late. I called somebody else. And I was like, wow, thank you for helping me dodge a bullet, right? Because if you're that impatient, I didn't want to work with you anyway. So there's a whole.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So, okay, Facebook, Pages, groups. I also use the Messenger app. So maybe I only have 4, but I think a lot of people just have the Facebook app, and having the multiple apps has helped me better manage my Facebook experience. And I very rarely use the Facebook app on my phone. If I'm being totally honest, it's because I can't see very well. Right?
There you go. Oh, I have my glasses too. Look at, we have identical glasses.
So for me, looking at Facebook on my phone just does nothing. It does nothing for me. Plus, if I want to comment, I'm not fast on my fingers like, you know, like my kids are. So I would rather, I can type really fast. So I'd rather get online.
So you're not texting and driving. That's good to know.
I am not texting and driving.
You also, I wanted, if you don't mind, to share, you've got this awesome community that you're creating coming up. If you wouldn't mind share, because a lot of people are from Washington State, and even those of you who are not from Washington State, but you come and travel to Washington, you've got to hear about what Tracey has going on.
Okay, so I was at this event back in June, and we had to talk about what we desire for 5 minutes without interruption. And as much as I love to talk, it was really hard to do this. But what I said out loud that I had no idea was in there was, I want to start a co-working space. And as soon as I said it, my brain started creating it. And I actually have a lease in my email inbox. I'm waiting for an attorney to review it, but I found a space. And I work from home, but I also know that I would be more successful as a business owner with people around me, yes, and 2, without the distractions of being at home. Yeah. Even when I really, head down and focus, it could be that the dog needs to go outside, or the dishes need to be washed, or the dryer is on, or, just all of those things. But more than that, I would meet girlfriends for, let's get together and co-work. And there's this unspoken accountability about being around other people who are all intentionally working. And so yes, I'm opening a co-working space. I anticipate opening March 1st, or maybe a little earlier. There's currently a tenant in my space, and it's a daycare, so they need to paint the walls because they kind of have crayon on them. They need to paint the walls. They need to replace the carpet. After they move out, and the
kitty toilets, don't forget the little.
Oh my gosh. And there's little teeny tiny toilets for the daycare. They jokingly said we could leave those in. I'm like, yeah, no, really, you can take those out. And so it will be 2,600 square feet to begin with.
It's nice.
And then the space right next door is also available. It is it is not built out at all. There's no walls in it. It's just there's probably a name for what that is. But So as soon as I sign the lease on the current space, I'm going to write a letter of intent on the second space, but it needs to go through permitting and some construction. And so I will be adding 1,700 square feet probably this summer. That space will be co-working space and event space. Because it's a nice square space. So when I design that space, it will have furniture that's easy to manipulate so that we can have.
And there are a ton of women's groups, in the Snohomish and King County.
It's crazy.
It is hard to find a place for women to get together and locate unless you got to pay, all this huge amount of money, or you have to go and buy the lunch from, to get there. And I love that you're doing that. And what is the name of your company?
It is called InSpark.
I love that name.
Where inspired minds gather to work. It's interesting that you mentioned that about renting event space. I was looking for event space. I was going to teach a workshop for 20 people. Okay, 20 people. 4 round tables. And the quote I got from a local hotel for 6 hours was $2,300.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I had no idea that.
No, and they have all these extra things that throw in. When I did a workshop this last summer, there was all these add-ons, like you need to have $100 insurance. You got to go through. Here's a referral you can do. And I'm like, but aren't you already in, those little things, they just come, nothing up front. We end up just breaking even barely by the time.
And sometimes you get nickeled and dimed. Oh, you need a microphone? Okay, that's another $50. Oh, wait, you need a sound system? Wait, that's this much. And I'm glad I said that out loud, because it makes me realize I need to add a sound system to my budget.
There you go. These things
some sort of little storage room and sound system. I've actually looked, at Costco, you can buy a metal rack that holds 100 folding chairs. I'm like, I might need that metal rack of folding chairs.
Definitely.
Maybe not.
Why don't you think big? I'm telling you, here's psychic to the stars here telling you, think really big in 2017. How can people find you that want to reach out to you? And the other thing, and not only how to find you, but tell people who your ideal client is, because people are embarrassed because they don't understand social media. So they're afraid to they don't want to say, well, I barely know Facebook, or I'm scared to use Twitter, or I'm scared to, the idea of going on LinkedIn. You are so fun, and you know your stuff, and you're happy to walk them through all the steps. There's nothing for anyone to be embarrassed of to reach out and work with you.
Right. So just a side note, if you hate Twitter, I'm going to tell you not to do it. Yay, you're free. That was a gift. Okay. Don't try to love a platform at all. People can find me online, obviously. I'm everywhere. And part of the reason I'm everywhere, I don't tell people to be everywhere, but I need to know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
A lot of what I do online is testing. Here, let me see if this works over here. Oh, that worked. Now I'm going to tell other people about it. But Tracey, and that's Tracey with an EY, Warren, you can find me on Facebook. I do have my Social Playground group. My website is thesocialplayground.com. It's super fun. I have this new fun website because I wanted something totally different, and it's totally different. You can also find me. There's all sorts of places that you can find me.
And I'll attach those links to the show. I'll get that for you. Definitely.
But my ideal client, what I'm loving right now is I am attracting a lot of people who want to do their own social media. Great. Have at it. So I sit down with them, and in 2 hours, we map out a strategy session. So we talk about content ideas and your relationships to leverage. And so in those 2 hours, you get kind of a, okay, what do I need to do next? Then what do I need to do next? And here's some ideas for you. And they do that. And then I'll follow up and say, okay, do you want to do a follow-up time? How's it working for you? Because that's my biggest thing is I don't want you to just come, like if I'm teaching a workshop, I don't want you to come to my workshop and then do nothing.
Yes. That's what happens. That's what
happens.
Yes.
And I want people to be successful.
Yes.
I also would add that when it comes to people and that, oh, I'm afraid, everyone I talk to is afraid. Tracey Warren, social media goddess, I often type Facebook statuses and delete them because I insecure insecure about them. So I feel like that's really important for me to say, because people go, oh, she's got it all together. I don't. Like, I struggle with the same insecurities as everyone else. And I mean, I think every day I type a status and delete it. So you're,
I do it too.
Yeah.
I'm cracking up because people think because we are extroverted, they think that we have no filters, which kind of we don't, but sometimes they don't think that we have a sensitive side. They don't think that we're vulnerable, that our feelings get hurt. They're like, oh, nothing will hurt. I can say anything. You are very sensitive. I know you. I am
sensitive, and I'm aware that people, I'm a little cynical. I'm a little judgmental. However, when it comes to social media, I don't have time to judge you. I don't, right? Like, if you're my client, if you're a really good friend, I might reach out to you and say, whoa, Nellie, you might not want to post that, and here's why. Yeah. But other than that, I'm not judging you because you like Donald Trump's page.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't have time to care that much.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that fair?
That was very fair. No, but it's important for people to know that when you do let people know, it's because you have their best interests at heart. So when you say, that, you might not, want to post that, and here's why. I mean, you're protecting, you don't want them to look bad in social media. I mean, you are the social media, the etiquette, the ins and outs, what should be on the business page and what's not. And now I've learned from you today, I've got something on my personal page that shouldn't be there. So I'm mindful of that.
Wait. Okay. Can I go back to that? It should be on your personal page.
Yes.
It's okay from time to time to post something business oriented on your personal page.
Okay. Like I have a workshop coming up.
Yes.
And I've only posted it one other time. So, okay, good.
The gal that I was telling you about, whose page is getting converted to a business page, almost every single post.
Yeah.
And here's the challenge with the Facebook terms of service is it's not explicit. It says you cannot use your personal profile for the sole purpose of promoting your business.
Okay, that's clear. Okay.
Unfortunately, what that looks like for some people, like there's some companies out there who tell their people, well, you need to reach out to your family and friends and recruit them. Well, okay, that doesn't work. Second, but it violates the terms of service. And, these companies can advise that because it doesn't hurt them.
No.
But it hurts the individual. And there's some companies that won't allow and I'm talking about multi-level marketing companies, they won't allow their consultants, directors, blah, 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 to have a business page. And I think a lot of people, because of Facebook's algorithm, they think, well, I only have 200 likes on my Facebook page, but I have 1,000 friends, so I get more reach. And I totally hear that. But here's the thing. Your Facebook personal profile does not do anything for Google. It does not allow you, you don't get demographics. You don't get insights. And so even if no one ever comments or likes a post on your business page, it's still benefiting you in credibility, in visibility, in your Google search rankings, and it can help you know about your message because you can see the demographics.
Yeah.
And if your target market is women who are 35 to 50, and you look at your demographics on your Facebook business page and you see that everyone who likes your page is under 35, eek, okay, it's time to tweak what you're talking about for your business.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Even if nobody ever says anything, it's still hugely valuable because people will say, well, my people don't use Facebook. I'm like, maybe, but everybody uses Google.
They definitely do. Is there anything that you would like to say about people like really obsessed about liking their likes? There's even a show on Netflix called Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Did you see that?
I made my daughter watch it. Okay, so if you don't, okay, so your question was about obsessed with likes.
Yes.
That's really a hard one. And I honestly believe from a psychological standpoint, there are people who should not be on Facebook because their entire existence revolves around whether people like or not. Yeah. So this episode of Black Mirror that Lisa mentioned, if you have Netflix,
you gotta.
The episode is called Nosedive.
It's on season 2,
and it is everything is sugary sweet. Hi, Lisa. So great to see you today.
Oh, Tracey.
It's amazing. And then every time they leave conversations with each other, they grab their phone and they rate the person. You get 5 stars. And when you get 5 stars, it goes, and your rating goes up. And your rating gives you access to fancy clubs. It gives you access to
status.
It gives you, it's crazy, but that it's a hard one. That being obsessed with likes, it's hard because there have been times. So if I post something and nobody clicks like, I get curious because I'm like, okay, that's, first of all, it's very bizarre if nobody clicks anything on my page. And then there's these random things where, like I posted my new logos for InSpark, 300 people commented. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So what you need to know about Facebook and their algorithm and content is Facebook likes original content. So a lot of business people are out there, they're sharing everybody else's content. Be a megaphone for your own voice.
Absolutely.
They like that original content. In addition, Facebook likes variety, which means sometimes it should be a link. Sometimes it should be text only. Sometimes it should be a picture. And I've heard people out there, social media experts, say every post needs to have a picture. That's not true because Facebook's algorithm likes variety. The other thing about the algorithm is it rewards posts that have engagement. So that post with InSpark, the logo, the fact that 300 people commented on it, the more people who comment on it, the more Facebook delivers it to people. And so, and I think in the Northwest, there are things to be aware of, right? Like, okay, so for those of you who aren't from here, right now, Portland is getting hammered with ice and snow. Like everyone in Portland is housebound and there's nothing to do. So you know what they're doing? They're spending a lot of time on social media.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But when it comes to, say, that first weekend in March where the sun comes out and it's 65 degrees in the Northwest, Facebook will be a ghost town because we're like, woohoo, we're out of our freeze, let's go play. And even things like the Seahawks game, right? Okay, so we have a crazy football audience here. 2 years ago, it was the NFC Championship game captured 80% of the TV viewing audience. Okay, 80, that's like staggering.
Yep.
If you're posting about your business during the NFC Championship game, you're not going to get any traction on a post because people are watching the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So just some things to be aware of. And, you know, there are times when I step away and take 2 days off of Facebook, like the weekend, for example.
Yeah.
And I just feel, the other thing I like to tell people is you ultimately have control of your Facebook. If you don't like the way someone is talking, great, unfriend them, unfollow them. But, you know, take those people off your post, off your feed. One of the things I've done, I have blocked almost all third-party posting. So I've blocked CNN. I've blocked Breitbart. Like I'm getting ready to block BuzzFeed because they're getting just annoying. But all of these news sites
Yes.
that were propagating fake news, fake news or regular news, I don't care because a lot of it is so negative. I've blocked most of that from my feed.
Yeah.
And it has made my Facebook experience so much more positive. And not like I'm living in Pleasantville. Like I want to be clear about that. But I get to invite specific content, and so do you. You know, so does everyone else.
Yes.
And rather than complain about it, you know, be proactive about it. I would also, you know, that's a warning to anyone who only shares third-party content, is if you're sharing third-party content and people aren't commenting, that could be why.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay, that was a little bit of a rant, but
hey, we just, you know, and that's what I love about my show. Like I say, it's around 30 minutes. Sometimes it'll go 20 minutes. Sometimes it goes over an hour. But that we're okay. Everything's all good because we were talking before. But I love that you came on, Tracey, because I've been wanting to have you for a long time. But you're just like, you've got all these business and stuff, and you know, you run all these groups. So I'm so happy that you came on, that we could kickstart the first of the year. Your group, The Social Playground, I mean, you share so many tips, and that's what people don't understand. It's like, why would you give away all this because no one will work with you? And that's not true. You're showing yourself as the expert, like you're everything social media. It's one thing to share a tip like you shared today. You gave lots of great tips. I mean, I've learned some new things, but it's like, how do you make the social media work for you in business? And that's why people need to work with you, because you can help them take all these social media platforms, and you can help say, you know, you don't need that. You don't need to use this one. How's it going to benefit you? Yeah. So I love that. So thank you for coming today.
You bet. I'm so glad that we finally got to chat.
It is. It's been wonderful. Everyone, thank you for joining us today, and we will be back next week for another show of Ladies Get Your Prance On. Thank you.